Verkehrswende, i.e. mobility turnaround, is one of Berlin's main endeavors to become fit for the future. That means to become a climate-neutral metropolis by 2045. Verkehrswende bedeutet möglichst viel umsteigen. Vom Auto aufs Fahrrad und in den öffentlichen Personennahverkehr. Fürs Klima, für bessere Luft, für mehr Ruhe und für mehr Lebensqualität in der Stadt. Das bedeutet konkret, breite, schnelle und sichere Radwege zu bauen. Das bedeutet auch, einen attraktiven ÖPNV anzubieten. Wie das in der deutschen Hauptstadt funktioniert, schauen wir uns das mal an am Beispiel der Tramlinie M10. The M10 is the most important tram connection to Berlin Hauptbahnhof. Since 2014 it has connected the S-Bahn station Warschauer Straße with Berlin's central station. Unique in Berlin, the tram route runs in a semicircle. This makes it the central connection between other means of transport in the north of the city. And that's 13 S-Bahn lines, 7 underground lines, 13 more tram lines and 12 bus routes. The result is a close network of 45 connections in total. Um die planerische Idee hinter dieser halbkreisförmigen Linienführung zu verstehen, schauen wir uns mal das planerische Grundprinzip an, nach dem der Verkehr hier in Berlin organisiert wird. Berlin's transport network goes back to the brilliant engineer James Hobrecht. He designed a development plan for Berlin in 1862, now known as Hobrecht Plan. Hobrecht organizes rail and road traffic according to the principle of ring and radial roads. Radial routes are arterial routes leading out of the city and vice versa. They are connected by ring-shaped routes in concentric circles around the city core. Only this combination creates countless connections. This principle does not only apply to roads, like in the ring development plan for Berlin. We are also familiar with this planning principle from the railways. Berlin's S-Bahn ring is based on it, just as, for example, London's Circle Line. Although only a semicircle was possible on the M10 route, this is also of outstanding importance because of the many connections. Die wichtigste Station ist dabei natürlich der Hauptbahnhof. Und wie ist jetzt die Performance dieser Tram, wenn es darum geht, dass man schnell und zuverlässig am Hauptbahnhof ankommen will? Dafür habe ich diese Strecke mal unter die Lupe genommen und habe mir angeguckt, wo es vielleicht hakt. Take Bersarin Square, for example. Behind the Frankfurter Tor, the tram goes halfway around in both directions. The tram passes Bersarinplatz on the elongated roundabout next to the motor vehicles at a speed a little faster than walking pace. The vehicles pull past. Here the tram idles about a minute. A kind of forced meditation for the passengers. The roundabout in the Hanseatic city of Bremen, known as Der Stern, the Star, shows how roundabouts can be efficiently passed by trams. The tram crosses it directly instead of going around it. And it automatically has the right of way through a signal system. This is standard for buses and trams in Bremen. Back to Berlin. For modern public transport, Bersarinplatz would have to be redesigned so that the M10 can rush straight through with priority signaling based on the Bremen example in both directions. The next time waster for passengers is the situation at Lüchener Straße, just before the Eberswalder Straße junction. The tram is here just before the stop. Here it is slowed down at a pedestrian crossing in a nonsensical way. Finally, the traffic light switches to free travel, but only for motor vehicles. After a while, there is also a travel signal for the tram, but no free ride. It is slowed down by vehicles on the rails. The tram driver cannot use his free signal. The tram is already so late that the next tram is breathing down its neck. It finally starts at a snail's pace. Here the tram gets its free signal again, but once more cannot head for the stop. Countless passengers are slowed down by two vehicles waiting for their green signal on the track bed. Now, the motorists get free travel, but the tram is stopped yet again by a signal, another stop and go. The would-be passengers have had their train in view for a long time and are patiently walking towards the edge of the road. When the BVG customers can finally board, 2.5 minutes have passed. 2.5 minutes for a distance of 150 meters. Cyclists experience a dangerous side effect of this unprofessional traffic control. The bicycle traffic light shows free travel for crossing the entire main road, but the blocked tram is standing in their way. They stand on a platform hardly longer than a bike. The tram in front of them piled up like a wall. It will start moving a little later and the traffic will roll up behind them. When the tram finally starts, the cyclists have a red signal again and have to continue waiting in the small area. Another delay at Brunnenstraße. The tram has been ready for departure for quite a while, but is forced to loiter in stop-and-go mode. The constant acceleration and deceleration is at least as unnerving for the tram driver as it is for the passengers. Here the driver loses patience, starts without a go signal and has to brake again for a car. Turning cars are more important to Berlin traffic planners here than the unobstructed move of a public transport vehicle with many paying passengers. In Gartenstraße the tram slows down again, directly in front of the important exchange hub Nordbahnhof. Once again, turning traffic is more important than the smooth handling of Berlin's public transport. Yes, and then the passengers still have to wait for the crossing traffic. When the crossing traffic is finally through, there's a go signal, but only for the traffic going straight ahead. The tram is still standing. The busy Chausseestraße crosses the tram line on Invalidenstraße behind the Nordbahnhof. This important road connection between inner and outer city must not be restricted. However, it is avoidable to allow private and commercial traffic to use the rail track without restriction. The passengers are once more getting nervous if they can catch their train from the main station. By the time the M10 can finally pass Chausseestraße, it has been stuck in traffic for another minute. Intelligent traffic control would be necessary here for the common lane. My animation shows how it could work. When departing from Nordbahnhof, the tram would automatically close the track for motor vehicles, but the right-hand lane would remain open. The tram is now approaching Chausseestraße at a brisk pace, and the intelligent control reactivates the left lane directly behind it. The journey to the main station continues. The next undesirable stop for passengers is in front of Hessische Straße, just after Chausseestraße. 3 tram lines to Berlin Central are bundled at this point. Here, at the junction of Hessische Straße, passengers can take a look at the headquarters of the Federal Transport Ministry. It gives them time to muse on transport policy of Germany in general and of the capital in particular. After a minute, this pause for thought is interrupted and the tram continues to the desired goal. It approaches the main station at brisk speed, but here it is slowed down again. This time, a pedestrian crossing has priority over the tram. A few travelers cross with their rucksacks and trolley cases. Dozens of BVG customers, meanwhile significantly delayed, are being kept in suspense as to whether they will still be able to catch their long-distance train. In the course of the M10 from Warschauer Straße to the main train station, I counted a total of 14 delays that can be avoided through intelligent traffic control. They sum up to almost 13 minutes, a third of the scheduled journey time of 35 minutes. Depending on the time of day and the amount of traffic, this time may vary. This delay doesn't even take the mostly unavoidable waiting times on the main traffic axes into account. Frankfurter and Landsberger Allee, Greifswalder Straße, Prenzlauer Allee, and the complex situation at the junction at the Eberswalder Straße underground station. For example, here on Frankfurter Allee, the tram is waiting another minute for a clear signal after all passengers have boarded. The M10 is not a modern means of transport, and it is unsuitable if you want to reliably catch a train at Berlin Central Station. Thus, the Berlin mobility law is disregarded, despite full-bodied assurances from the Senate Department for Mobility, Transport, Climate Protection and the Environment. It says under paragraph 26, in order to ensure a reliable and punctual offer and to achieve attractive travel times, public transport is given priority over motorized private transport. Going east from Berlin Central, the traffic control before the Eberswalder Straße underground station is particularly grotesque. I don't want to put you through the passenger stress of waiting in real time. This scene is no exception. It's everyday normality well into the night. BVG customers are stuck in stop-and-go traffic for 6 minutes before they can finally move on. 6 minutes for a distance of 225 meters, that's just over 2 kilometers per hour, half the speed of a pedestrian. An alternating signal system would also have to be installed here on Eberswalder Straße. Free travel for vehicles if there's no tram approaching. When starting at the previous Friedrich Ludwig Jahn Sportpark stop, the tram automatically blocks the track for motor vehicles when it sets off and is given free signal. While proceeding, the tram automatically opens the lane immediately behind itself for vehicles. However, inconsiderate drivers keep pushing their way in front of the trams in Berlin. If drivers repeatedly disregard the red signal here, video surveillance will be required, as is common in other European countries. The alternative would only be to block the entire left lane. Long traffic jams as a result, and commercial traffic would also be affected. The M10 is the most important tram in Berlin. Its importance will increase even further as a result of expansions in the west and southeast of Berlin now being prepared. So it's high priority to increase the performance of the M10. Berlin's top tram is a leisure train, but it's hardly as leisurely to ride on it. Since a separate track is not possible in many places along the route, an intelligent control system must be installed. The global company Siemens has its roots in Berlin. Siemens is currently investing heavily in the German capital, for example here in Adlershof in the Siemens Mobility Division. Kann Siemens hier an seinem Ursprungsort die Stadt im Rahmen einer Public-Private Partnership unterstützen? Stichwort Smart Mobility. Das Berliner Mobilitätsgesetz erfordert Action. Diese Tramlinie wurde erst mit fast 9 Jahren Verspätung fertig. Wird eine Modernisierung verschleppt werden durch das Berlin-typische Gezanke um Zuständigkeiten, durch eine ineffiziente Verwaltung oder die große Koalition der Bedenkenträger? Die Beschleunigung dieser Tram ist Gebot der Stunde. Viel Glück, ihr Stop-and-Go gestressten Fahrgäste. Gute Fahrt.